us that indeed our prayers were being heard on high. Where Angels Walk sold well over 1 million copies and sat on the New York Times bestseller list for more than a year. A phenomenal feat. Around the same time, Sophie Burnham's A Book of Angels, positioned for more of a New Age audience, was also a celebrated bestseller. Yet millions and millions of people weren't just reading about angels, they were also watching them on the big screen, in movies such as City of Angels, starring Nicolas Cage, listening to songs such as Angel by Sarah McLachlan, and tuning in every week for the popular TV show Touched by an Angel, starring Roma Downey and Della Reese. Even Newsweek and Time featured angels as their cover stories. The underlying message from all these forays into popular consciousness was simple. Do not be afraid. You're not alone. Someone has your back. The mark of the new millennium came and went. The world did not end. Y2K, that computer bug that was going to shut down all technology and plunge us into darkness, is looked upon now as a bit of silliness that never amounted to much of anything. In those early days, the 21st century was looking pretty good. Here in the West, things seemed, in general, safe and secure. Then the terrorist attacks happened on September 11, 2001, and for a few moments we thought that maybe fate had been running a little late. Thousands of people lost their lives in a series of acts. Wars ensued, the economy later busted, and everything seemed to come crashing down around us. The ominous lines of William Butler Yeats' poem, The Second Coming, seemed terribly prescient. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. Where were the angels during all of this? Where were our protectors? If angels were all around us in the 1990s, they seemed to have cut their losses, packed their bags, and headed for warmer climates. Certainly, though, there were stories of rescues and angelic intervention in the 2000s. Anderson recounts a number of them in her most recent book, In the Arms of the Angels. Yet angels generally had faded from our collective consciousness. We weren't paying attention to them anymore. Instead, our focus turned to heaven. In recent years, books such as the bestsellers Proof of Heaven by Eben Alexander and Heaven is for Real by Todd Burpo and Lynn Vincent have sold in excess of 7 million copies combined, and that is a conservative figure. Angels were out, and near-death experiences, NDEs, first-hand accounts of people dying, encountering God, and coming back to life, were in. Maybe this wasn't such a bad thing. Angels, as I'm sure Anderson would agree, are not ends in themselves, but a way of leading us to God, of reminding us that God is present. In an old Bruce Lee movie, there is a line where the teacher tells a student that the secret to life is like a finger pointing to the moon. As the student stares at the finger, the teacher slaps the boy in the head and says, "Don't focus on the finger, or you will miss all the heavenly glory." Maybe the angels had become like that finger and needed to stand aside to shift the focus back to what was most important. Or maybe the rise of technology has caused our consciousness to shift. As more and more of us stop paying attention to the world around us and instead shift our focus to the screens of our smartphones, the more we may be missing the angels around us. Fewer and fewer of us are looking to the sky these days. Instead, we're checking Facebook or email, and in turn blocking out the realities that surround us every day. Myopia isn't conducive to angelic encounters. Still, the winds are beginning to shift again, and angels seem to be coming in for a landing. As an author, editor, and publisher, I've come across at least a dozen book proposals in the past year that center on angels. Recent best-selling books, such as Anthony DeStefano's Angels All Around Us and Ptolemy Tompkins and Tyler Beddoes' Proof of Angels, are helping pave a whole new runway for our heavenly friends. Question: what does all this mean? Answer: that there is an angelic renaissance on the way. And what better way to help usher in that new awareness than to celebrate where angels walk? This classic inspirational work that reaffirms God's ultimate message of love and abiding presence in our lives. In this book, you'll find stories of angelic intervention, a 7-foot, white-clad mystery man who scares away a gang of thugs, an angelic helper who whisks a